All right, welcome to the show and tell video. We have some products from the Peddlers Den, or making a scene, peddlersden.com. They've asked me to take a look at a couple of the products they have, and I received this in the mail a few weeks ago. Just getting around to trying it out here. Okay, so the first product is Grip It. Okay, now this is designed for the temporary adhesion mounting of your unmounted rubber stamps, okay? And they go on to your acrylic blocks. I would guess that you might be able to use this in some way on a hinged stamp positioner type of thing. Okay, so the way this works is one side is the tacky side and one side, I believe, is the permanent adhesive side. You might know this like as a tack and peel type of product. I'm feeling this right now, and it seems like it is more of the temporary adhesive property on both sides. So more of that magnetic type of thing on both sides. Okay, now they've sent me a block. Looks like it's from Inkadinkadoo here. A little tiny acrylic block, thinner than I've ever seen before. Seems kind of cool. All right, so we're going to utilize this in this temporary mounting here. Now this can be cut down too. It's this rubbery type of feel. It's a little bit thicker than tack and peel, which could be good, because maybe it would provide some additional cushion. This isn't as tacky as tack and peel, which they've told me that that's the case. Tack and peel, it's not as tacky most of the time until you wash it, or if it's brand new like that. Okay, mine isn't like super tacky on my 20-year-old blocks, like. What was I saying here? I'm putting this back on here to adhere. Okay, now let me see. Okay, so my older ones are not as tacky as the newer ones, in other words. But then when you wash these off for several years afterwards, it's really super tacky, okay? But let's see how this goes. So if you don't know, if you haven't seen this type of thing before, if you know those things called color form, you know what I mean? It's like a temporary bond. So this is almost like a clear stamp or something like that. That's what it feels like to me. But it has that tackiness on both sides instead of just one side. Okay. So this one isn't not quite as tacky. I'm holding it to my thumb and it looks like it's not quite as tacky. But like I said, some people like that, I guess. And we'll see how it works. Okay, so they said that I can just trim this with a scissor. I'm not going to do this. I'm going to make this a custom size piece. Like I said, this is a temporary bond, so what's cool about it is you can just peel it off, your positioner or something like that. I'm not quite sure what sizes it comes in, if it comes in multiple sizes or not. But yeah, because it's you can use it like a gel stamp or something like that, or a clear stamp, I think they're called, on your stamp positioner, I would think. If any of you have it, just comment in the section, let me know the utilization of it. There's videos on it too, from their on their channel, I believe. Okay, so peeling this off, that's got a good grip to it, so it seems excellent. All right, now on your unmounted rubber, let's see here. This one's not quite as big enough for this size stamp, so I'm just going to put it on at an angle like that. Now, I don't need to do an impression with this, but might as well here. Let me just take a piece of scratch paper right here. Ink it up. stamping out. Now, I don't have any cushion at all underneath my paper here, but excellent impression quality. Now, I can see that this material is absolutely, smooth. So there's not going to be any variation with it. But like I said, it's a little bit thicker, like I said, than Tack and Peel, which is good. It's got that, any kind of additional kind of rubbery cushion that you might have is excellent. But always have, something underneath if you can, to provide that extra cushioning, especially with larger stamps. So we're taking this off like so, and applying our little protective seal over the top of it again, and we're good to go. I did need some extra blocks, I've been saying, with additional material, so this size thickness right here is pretty cool too. I'm used to stamping with a little bit of a heftier block, but anything can work, and this one would take up a little bit less storage than this Inka-Dinka-Doo one. So, that being said, okay, so I'm guessing that when, just like Tack and Peel, when this gets a little bit dusty or something like this, you rinse it underneath the water, and it should clean off. Temporary mounting material for rubber stamps. There's no additional instructions on here, but what you do is, eventually this type of surface gets a little bit dusty or gritty, and then you just wash it off under water, rinse it off under just running water. Allow to air dry. Don't wipe it off with, a paper towel or something like that, otherwise it'll get linty again. But these types of things should dry off really quickly. Okay, second material here. Okay, now I can't use this because it says you have to use Scotch permanent double-sided tape sold separately, okay? But what these are replacement foam tips right here for the Colorbox Stylus Tools. I'll let you know what this is. Now, like this one right here is really crusty and dry. So what you'd do is you would remove this foam off here. It's on there very permanently. Okay, so just take some kind of mechanism to remove that off, whatever you would use. Personally, I would use like a mat knife and just remove it. Got to be careful not to cut yourself. Maybe leave it on the tool like that, and remove as much as you can, okay, to make it completely smooth. Take your foam right here and then apply it right here. This foam right here looks to be like a really dense one, so it's not as springy, and I'm not quite sure how much ink absorbs into it, but the denser it is like this, Colorbox used to have denser types of materials like that I liked better. This one's even denser than that, so you can see how much ink absorption it can handle, and the denser it is, the better. Okay, I was going to say, maybe I can use this right here. Okay, so this just peels off like that, okay. Off the back. I thought there might be some already some glue or, I don't know, some adhesive property to that. But I was going to say, okay, so the more absorbent it is, it's always a balance. The more absorbent something is, the more ink it can handle, but it's never going to hold a ton of ink because your ink will only penetrate so far. So let me just test it right here, okay? Okay, so I don't use something like a StazOn on this type of thing. I always use dye-based inks. I'll just try to handle it like this. I'm going to get ink all over my hands like this, but let's take it like this. Let me take a piece of glossy. Let me see if I have a piece of scratch glossy here. Okay, I don't have a piece of scratch glossy here, but I do have a piece of semi-gloss. And let's see how this goes here. Okay, this is semi-gloss, so this is really going to, absorb my ink very quickly here, okay? So I'm just looking to see how much coverage I can get here. All right, so it doesn't seem to absorb. It seems to be a little bit more surface oriented than the other one. But it should handle pretty well in terms of a replacement for this. I don't know. Yeah, it's hard for me to say in terms of a comparison with the the more softer style of foam right here. But this density of this, I would imagine these will last a really long time, as opposed to the more kind of lighter weight type of foam. So there's always this kind of balance in between kind of longevity and absorbency and usage goes like that. But I would think they're excellent, just in terms of the amount of ink that I was able to transfer from that one application. I think that was just one inking right there. So it looks like it holds a good amount of ink. And let's see right here. So it says attach to handle using Scotch Permanent. Do not wash. Okay, so I'm not quite sure what that means because we need to be able to rinse these out, I would think. So I don't know. Watch their video on their informational demo on their YouTube channel. Okay, so anyways, thanks to the Peddlers Den for sending me out these products right here to test out and check out. And I have another block that I can use for my temporary mounting of my unmounted rubber. All right.